Welcome to the White Sox Recap Podcast. I am Ryan McGuffey. That's my guy, Brian Anderson, former White Sox outfielder, 2005 World Series champ. And it's almost that time. Believe it or not, it's almost that time to put a bow on the 2025 Major League Baseball season and the 2025 Chicago White Sox. We're going to get into success, Hey,
the good part is, watch this, and start over.
And cut.
Roll tape.
Welcome to the White Sox Recap Podcast. I am Ryan McGuffey. It's all brought to you by our why did I do that?
Well, wait, do we need to go back to the original where it pans off me? Am I making you nervous? It's birthday blues.
Birthday hangover.
Did you treat yourself?
My best friend surprised me. Drove up last night.
She treated yourself.
Yeah. We went out too fucking late. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
We had dinner, then we went back home, had
treated yourself to several
with the fam, and then went back out.
Oh, that's always the part. When you come home and you go back out, nothing bad ever happens, and you always feel good. Where'd you guys go? Like downtown?
No, we were just up at my house and like Edison Park.
Oh, nice.
Came home and then opened a bottle of rum.
So that's what happens. With that dark alcohol too is if it's dark rum too, like that's where the money is.
It is dark rum.
Yeah, it makes you feel great. You're not dehydrated at all.
No. Okay, cool. Is this a podcast?
Yeah.
Welcome to the White Sox Recap Podcast. I am Ryan McGuffey alongside 2005 World Series champion Brian Anderson. In this episode, we are going to discuss, the possibility of a 99-loss season. And should we be celebrating that? Quick thought on that?
No dice.
Okay, no dice. Even though this guy predicted 63 wins for the White Sox at the beginning of the year. So I guess I'll have to bring flowers if the White Sox do finish 11-11 down the stretch. We're going to get into a little potpourri. Should the White Sox invest in bullpen in 2026? I have some thoughts on that. Some thoughts down the stretch as we go 30 minutes or more. We'll figure it out here on this edition of the podcast. It's all brought to you by the Illinois Tollway and their If Only campaign. Quick timeout for something serious, folks. I've seen it all throughout the summer, and it almost happened to me on 294 earlier this year. Quick timeout to talk about something serious. We've all said it before. If only I'd slowed down. The Illinois Tollway's new ad campaign is called If Only, and it's a powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. Every crash leaves someone wishing they had done things differently. So take the extra time, slow down, save lives, including yours. Depend on it. We're proud to have the Illinois Tollway with us here on the White Sox Recap Podcast. So, is a 99-loss season something to be excited about? That and more on this edition of the White Sox Recap Podcast. It starts right now. All right, BA. So,
what's up, pal?
What's up, bud? Yeah, we should probably start it off with a little bit. How you doing, pal?
Good. And by the way, first and foremost, just found out some unbelievable news that you and my daughter share the same birthday, dude. That's freaking money.
I know. It's actually jacked you up. I'm excited about it too because I really do. Like, the world sometimes gives you little subtle reminders that it's just not that big, and it also like why you're in each other's lives. And BA and I aren't just doing a podcast and then we leave and don't talk. Like, we share stuff that's going on in our lives, success, failures, and hard times, good times, and in between. That's what friendships are all about. And when we found that, we both were like, wait, what? Because I know how much this guy loves his daughter, showed me all the pictures of her birthday. And when he found out that we shared a birthday,
yeah. Well, when I walked into, I saw the balloons and I'm like, oh shit. I think I forgot Guff's birthday. And when I found out it was yesterday, I had a nice little bait and switch for you, Bush. There, I got to throw a little curveball at you and say, "Oh my God, you have the same birthday as my daughter." That was really cool.
Nah, appreciate it. It's always good to have another lap around the sun. Appreciation post. As we get older, I feel like the appreciation for waking up in the morning is a little bit hits a little different. So,
oh yeah,
we come down the stretch here. It's crazy. Like we're post Labor Day now, and before we talk about like some of the good here with the White Sox, and it's been fun to watch the team the last couple of weeks since the All-Star break, really. I mean, they've been hovering around that 500 mark in the second half, and it's about how they've done it and who they've done it with. I mean, Colson Montgomery has been his own success story. We've talked about Colson Montgomery, the fact that he's been this type of power production, both from a home run and RBI standpoint. You're talking about a very short list of guys that have done what he's done in the second half. When you played and it got to post Labor Day and you were up the tracks and out of contention, did it feel like how does those teams were different for you because you guys, when you came up with the White Sox, it was win, 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 win. You didn't go through a rebuild like this. But as a player, when you're coming down the stretch and you look up and we got 22 games left, what kind of momentum, what are you trying to work on? There's individual things, there's team things, but when there's 22 games left as a player, how do you, and people aren't going to like to hear this and watch this. It's like, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars. Like, what are you talking about? Like, get up in the morning and go play a baseball game. But as the calendar gets later in the season, how does that impact a player every day?
Well, first and foremost, in regards to Colson Montgomery, what he's doing right now reminds me a lot of like what Carlos Quentin did in 2008, right? Where like he just looks so comfortable, right? Carlos had dealt with a ton of adversity, never really got his consistent at bats, kind of was up and down with the D-backs. But Colson's come up here, and instead of looking like just kind of like one of those bat out of hell, little bright spot for a month, I really think this kid's got it figured out. And just like Mike Trout did that one time when he got called up, right? Like Mike Trout was hitting more like 270 when he got called up. Nothing crazy in AAA or AA, but he's been a pleasure to watch. He's been really exciting for fans. But down the stretch, I think in 2006, we had kind of seen the writing on the wall. At least the last couple of weeks, we weren't going to make it. I think we won 89 or 90 games. That's nuts. Yeah. But I mean, sorry guys, but like I look at that and I thought to myself, that's just one of those times where I remember Ozzie would start giving everyday guys a break. Even I got a breather here and there. Jerry Owens, Ryan Sweeney, those guys were getting called up. But guys like that were getting called up to kind of just give them a whack at it and kind of see what they're made of. But again, I think fans, you owe it to the fans. Even if you're out by 100 games, which the White Sox are, you have to go out there and you have to, the effort level has got to be at max at all times.
Well, I think with this particular group, because of who they are, I mean, these guys are trying to, there's a culture being built, not on the fly anymore. I mean, Will Venable, I think very clearly has been the right guy all season long. We've talked about this here on the podcast. But when you look at the way the lineup's being constructed night in and night out here in September, and you're looking at like 2 through 6 or 2 through 7, it's like rookie. And they're really experimenting with, well, Colson has proven at this point he is a 30 homer potential guy, right? If he's on pace right now for over 162, it'd be like a 55 homer. Like, I'm a little bit more realistic. If this guy's a 30 homer guy that you pencil into the middle of your lineup now, pencil him in the middle of your lineup now.
No doubt.
Rather than 2026. And I think even like when you look at when Kyle Teal's in the lineup, you're seeing him now in the productive side of things rather than down the lineup. I think what Will Venable's done in the second half here with the lineup construction, I like it a lot, because why waste time? Why waste these next 20 plus games on, well, let's get them. No, guys are comfortable. Let's see what they actually are doing in the 3-hole, the 4-hole, the 5-hole. When there's actually runs to drive in. Yeah,
I mean, like even with my draw too, he's been fun to watch. But I look at that guy, and we always talk, or I always bring up the Mark Loretta / Mark Grizzolonics and things like that. But I look at, put him in the 2-hole, right? Let Edgar Carroll bat in the 3-hole. I really like that. I think Edgar Carroll reminds me of a very, very young what's his name? I'll think of him in a second, but we'll go back to that. But here, Victor Martinez, right?
Yeah.
So, and and the reason why I say that is Victor Martinez was a switch hitter. He's so composed at the plate. Is Edgar Carroll going to smack 350 with 20 homers? Probably not. But 280 to 300 with 5 to 8 and 40 to 50 ribbies. I like that for the White Sox next year, because he's getting on base, he's getting base hits from both sides of the plate. But exactly to your point, like make up the lineup right now where we're 2 through 6. See what it looks like.
I could not agree more, and that's part of what's been happening. We've seen it in the Twin series. You look at the Twin series that's ongoing as we tape this. Come from behind wins. Yeah, like this team's doing things in the 9th inning to steal games. Things that they've had plenty of games taken from them,
no doubt,
because of their bullpen. And I want to get into the bullpen here in a little bit, but their ability to pile on. I mean, we've talked a year ago, 2 years ago. The Sox, they'd give you 2 runs in the first or second, and that would be it, folks.
No doubt.
And this team's ability to continue to tack on, or have the ability to be down 3-1 in the 9th and all of a sudden get 3 or 4 runs, because you look at that meat and potatoes of the lineup and it's got legit meat on the bone.
Yeah.
And it's got legit side dishes now. And the experimentation with a guy like Chase Meidroth, who for the bulk of the year has been in the 1 or 2 spot, I like the idea. Like he's played 12 games now in the 8 spot. I kind of like that too, because he's one of those guys, Eckstein-ish. I mean, we're putting some big labels on him.
I like that comp, by the way.
Okay.
The Eckstein comp is way better comp than my Mark Grudzielanek, but Eckstein was a champion.
Those are big. Like,
hell yeah.
If he's David Eckstein.
Hell yeah.
If he's Mark Grudzielanek, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like
all-star, man.
That's the third guy in the Crochet trade. And if he right now is suited better at the bottom of the lineup to turn it over, let's go. So be it.
Hey, like you said, man, you take 3 rookies this year, right? Next year will be their second full season or second season in the big leagues, right? All of them will surpass rookie limits. I'm guessing even Colson might come close, but probably not. But you look at a guy, you look at Carroll, you look at Mydroth, you look at Teal, you look at Colson Montgomery, you add Luis Robert to the mix. Let's say he has a great spring. They keep him. No, but I'm just saying that's 3 young players and a veteran guy now stepping in there. They keep Andrew Benintendi. There's 5 hitters throughout your lineup that should be productive. That's how you start winning games, and that's how you start competing. That's how Cleveland did it. That's how Minnesota did it. Jose Ramirez started Ramirezing it, right? And Carlos Santana and all those guys, right? Granted, they don't have a Francisco Lindor at shortstop, but these guys, you start getting 4 or 5 guys that they're playing together, all pulling in the same direction. That's how you consistently put up runs. Now, the bullpen and the staff, on the other hand, is a different subject.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because I want to let's punt on the bullpen for now, because I want to talk about the 63 win thing. So as we record this, they need to go 500 down the stretch. Very doable.
Yeah.
I mean, they've basically been a 500 team, a couple games under 500 since the
birthday wishes.
Cap never understood.
Come on, Cap, clean it up.
We're doing content here. Okay.
Yeah, better than last time when he tried to sabotage the whole thing.
When you look at what the White Sox have to do now, I'm going to pull up their schedule here in a second, which I should have for you, but
it's not good, is it?
Well, they have the Yankees, but I don't really care. Like, they had not beaten the Minnesota Twins. They were 5-24 heading into the series against the Twins.
When I did the game last Friday against the Yankees, right? I want you to think about this for a second. Think about crazy stats. The Yankees had 5 runs on 2 hits.
Yeah.
They had 5 runs on 2 hits. So, like, that just goes to show you the White Sox are right there, right? You just can't do stupid shit. Like, you play in the New York Yankees, these premier teams with potent lineups. You could, if they allow you to stay in the game, you just can't walk 6 guys in the first 4 innings, right?
Well, in their bullpen.
Yeah.
But the Sox here's the thing. Down the stretch, you go at Detroit, home against Tampa, at Cleveland, home against Baltimore, home against San Diego, at the Yankees, at the Nationals. It's a tall task. They had some playoff teams in there. Like, the Padres are clinging to the wild card. They're trying to fight for position. The Yankees are fighting in the wild card. Tampa Bay's not dead yet. Detroit's obviously almost wrapped up the Central.
Mm-hmm.
But you predicted 63 and 99. And at the beginning of the year, you did say that should be a goal, which sounds crazy.
Yeah.
As a team, you're going, we should try to stay out of the 100-loss territory. And I kind of laughed it off. I said that they'd be a 53-win team. They're at 52 as we take this. Okay. They're very clearly, they have absolutely blown 5 games I can think of off the top of my head. They should blow past 63.
No doubt.
They took care of the bullpen.
Sure.
I think it is worth celebrating. I do.
Yeah.
I think if you go from the worst team in the history of the sport to 63 wins with at the start of the season, that roster had multiple players who would not have made camp out of any other team. And the rest of the year, you've had guys making major league debuts left and right. That 22-game improvement would 99% of the time win you a Manager of the Year award.
I know you've been waiting to say that. I know you bring it up every podcast. The unfortunate
he should get votes.
No, you should.
Votes.
He's gonna get a lot of second and third place votes. But to your point, man, like,
but hang on. You say it is something we should not be celebrating now.
No, we should. You should be celebrating it. Only because it's such a drastic change, right? And you got to remember too. I'm trying to shift my mindset out of the era in which I played, where, like, if you didn't make the playoffs, right, it was like a huge bust. But I mean, we were winning 90 games and not going to the playoffs, and fans would just be torching us.
You
know,
didn't have this format. You would have in the current extra wild card. The White Sox would the 06 White Sox.
Sure.
The playoffs.
Yeah, but to your point, like, again, like, when you win 41 games last year, and then go to 63, that's a plus 22. You do that with any other organization, right? They're crowning you, they're extending you, they're doing everything. So it has to be celebrated in some way, shape, or form.
I don't know if they get there, and we'll know in a few weeks. We'll talk about it.
11-11. I'm panicking a little bit when I saw it. You said the 22 games, because what are they in the second half? I think you mentioned they're 20 and 23. Yeah. So And we've been praising them because they have been playing a better product. Like they've been putting a better product on there. They've been playing, the younger guys. But let's be honest, Colton Montgomery has been carrying them offensively quite a bit. So he's been kind of like the crown jewel in the second half.
Oh my God. I mean, so how good have the White Sox been in the second half? And again, people are like, are you guys seriously talking about a team that's under 500? There are certain things that should be talked about.
Yeah.
The White Sox have the 5th most home runs in all of baseball in the second half. The Yankees, the Blue Jays, the Phillies, the Mets, the White Sox. The White Sox have not been a power hitting team for even those years, even those the golden year of 2021 when they went. They just went from the White Sox were always a power hitting team when you played. They were the 200 plus.
My God, were they?
200 plus homer per year organization. White Sox, 5th in the majors in homers, in RBIs, 5th in the majors in RBIs, in OPS, 7th in the majors in OPS in the second half, in batting average, which is low, like not as big anymore. 6th in the majors in the second half.
It's not as important anymore, Guff. Batting average, not a thing.
Slugging. 7th in the majors in the second half. Walks is still an issue with this team. They're just not a big team that's going to walk a lot. But think about that. Think about those numbers. And they're 6th in runs in the majors. And you look at the teams like ahead of them in runs. The Blue Jays, the Brewers, the Mets, the Yankees, where are they going? They're going to the postseason.
No doubt.
So something has clicked, not just with Colson Montgomery, but when you can actually have a guy like Colson Montgomery be a dude in the middle of the lineup that teams have to now game plan for and say, we're not giving this kid a fastball. Well, guess what he's starting to do? He's starting to drive off speed pitches.
No doubt. Out to the opposite field, too. One of the most incredible things is that lefty on lefty is staying close, and his bat path is staying true to the middle of the field against left-handed hitters or left-handed pitchers. And for a young left-handed hitter, that lefty-lefty matchup, man, it's one of the toughest things. I watched even veteran guys like a Jim Thome. You'd see him bail out on some nasty sweeping stuff where he kind of front side would fly open. So watching him stay to the opposite field gap and stay closed on some of those nastier lefties has been fun to watch.
Last thing about the lineup, because when you have a guy, when you played, there were multiple players that pitchers had to be like, I got to stay away from Paulie. He's on a heater. Jermaine's on a heater.
The whole lineup.
Right. So that gave other guys opportunities to see pitches. And that's what I think we're seeing right now. You're seeing a guy like Kyle Teal. The amount of multi-hit games Kyle Teal's had, pitchers are actually having to – the White Sox have a plan. The White Sox have a plan. And I think that you can laugh. I'm pulling up their first inning runs. But when Pedro Grifol said that we're going to prepare to kick your ass all the time.
That's your boy.
That's what the Sox are a top 11 team in all of baseball in scoring first inning runs. This team has a plan, and teams are now coming in to play the White Sox, having a game plan around a lineup that actually is going to be something going forward. And not to mention, they don't have to talk about it. I think one of the toughest things to do as a manager and as a team, you get baited by reporters all the time. It's like, what's your guys' makeup? Like, what's the locker room like? What's going to be like your MO as an organization? I think the teams that really dwell on like, oh, we're going to come out and kick your ass, do that. Just show us, right? Put up or shut up. Yeah, no mission statements. Like you said, it's fun to talk about it when you're doing it. Yeah. When we were doing it, Ozzie could say whatever he wanted because we were doing that thing, right? But I mean, it's a lot more fun to watch when you're like, damn, my draw's been on base twice. He's walked twice. Colson Montgomery's got a double. Teal's got a double. And then Carroll's, bunted a guy over and got a guy over and got a guy over from second base with nobody run on second, nobody out. Right. It's just when you're playing baseball, it's a lot of fun. And having those 4 or 5 core group of guys be really young, that's when magical things start happening. That's when you start seeing the Cleveland Indians. And I always refer back to the Tampa Bay Rays. The Tampa Bay, since I was playing, it always has these young core group of guys coming up just doing damage. And they play a great brand of baseball. All right, so the bullpen. Oh, God. Because I said on Twitter last week that the White Sox, if they're serious about spending money in 2026, and I don't know if they are. We've talked about it. I gave you some names that I would look at a couple of weeks ago. But this team, in my opinion, if you trot out this version of a bullpen next year, what are you telling me? I know bullpen volatility is as predictable as death and taxes. Yeah. Like that is a certainty. And people were like, the White Sox did that in 2021 with Joe Kelly. And who am I forgetting? Joe Kelly and the guy from Houston, whatever. The guy that from Houston that they got in the Corey Lee trade. They got Corey Lee from. Anyway, I'm blanking on his name.
Must have been real good.
This is making me mad. But yeah, they did it for that team. You're going to spend money in bullpen, and it's not always going to work. Okay, Kendall Graveman, by the way.
That's right. I like that. He was good too. I mean, he's a good pitcher.
You look at this bullpen, and when I say invest in the bullpen, I just want one guy that's get the ninth inning. I just want a ninth inning guy. I don't need 4 years, $70 million for this guy. Yeah. I mentioned Finnegan. Finnegan got hurt in the bullpen yesterday for the Detroit Tigers.
Hey, might get him at a discount.
Dude, he had not allowed to run in like 12 appearances for the Tigers. Nails as a setup guy. I want a guy that's like on the back of your baseball card, it says you've closed games. Because these young guys, there's good stories in the White Sox bullpen. You want to hear that with nothing wrong with him, but you want to hear a walkout song at least 50 times next year. Here's what I don't want. When I look at saves for the Chicago White Sox, 6, 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, 1. I don't want that.
No.
I don't want Jordan Leisure to be my closer. I don't.
Right.
I want a guy that plug and play ninth inning and you work backwards. When you're a really good team ready to compete, you actually go 9th, 8th, 7th. And work. This team, all I'm asking for is 1 inning. I just want one. I don't think that's too much to ask. If this team were to win 60 games, which it looks like they're going to, okay, what is a next step for next year? To me, it's 75. Like, it's in the 70s, if not 8. There's no excuse anymore to not try to get to 81 and 81.
Yeah, well, check this out. Like,
here's rambled there.
No, you're right.
Give me a ninth inning guy.
Well, listen, they need to have a go-to guy. Does it always work out? No, you can make adjustments as the season goes on. God knows the White Sox have made the adjustment maybe 7 times. But we brought up Mike Clevenger. We were talking before the pod. But you bring up like a Martin Perez, right? So here's what I'm telling you. Sometimes when you make moves in the offseason, a GM, it's natural, right? The president of the team, the GM, the manager, the coaching staff, the pitching staff, you have this idea in your mind, like a Mike Clevenger, experienced, get guys out. He's composed. He's done it before. Okay, that's taken care of. That could be the biggest kiss of death in an organization when you get comfortable and say that's taken care of. Look at Martin Perez. Had he not got hurt for that month and a half, 2 months, where would the White Sox be? Even if it's 2+2+3 games, we're talking about even a more successful season, right? Yeah. So there's guys that you rely on.
But Clevenger was not a closer. You were trying to convert a guy on the fly to try to take care of a problem that you have.
Yeah,
and that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I don't want, super success. Oh, this guy has 100 wins and now he's going to be a closer. John Smoltz was the only guy I know.
Ever. Yeah.
So no, the next John Smoltz is not walking through that door.
No.
I'm looking at the White Sox. How many saves do you think the White Sox have in 2025?
Probably 20.
20 is exactly correct.
I did the quick math.
20 is exactly correct. It's 5.
That's crazy.
It's 5 fewer than the Colorado Rockies.
By committee.
But my point is,
it
is like I'm looking at it with almost a highlighter. It is so apparent that the White Sox don't have anybody in that role, and it just like
they need to spend $50 million on 2 arms next year. That's what they need to do. Well, no, I'm talking about a couple 2-year 25s, 2-year, like something along those lines. A 3-year 15. Like they got to go get 2 seasoned vets that can do 2 things. They can shore up the end of the bullpen, give you that consistency, but also teach the bullpen arms a thing or two, right? Like the Grant Taylors, he's got the makeup for a good setup guy, man. I'm telling you, he's got the stuff. They need to throw strikes. You got to be, or even if he's the 7th inning guy, people clown on the 7th inning. Yet. Yeah, we'll see.
He may be the starter. I mean,
we'll see.
That's where he was. I don't want a kid in that role.
No doubt.
Daniel Palencia for the Cubs looks like he's a dude. But he evolved.
Well, Craig Kimbrell was a kid. I mean, you're talking about 99 with a wipeout slider and unhittable.
They have 46. Right? They've allowed 46 walks in the 9th inning.
That's nuts. And I'm telling you, Ozzie, one of the greatest things Ozzie ever taught us, and I was in every single one of those meetings and team meetings, as he says it, he'll die on this cross. He's like, guys, young guys especially, I don't care if you get called up or you get an opportunity. If you get shelled, that's fine. You're not going to get shelled every game, but you will give up hits. I don't care if you get rocked and give up 10 runs, you're going back out there. But if you come in and we're up by 3 and you walk the first hitter, you're fucking gone. Yeah. Like, it's inexcusable. You just threw 400 warm-up pitches. Give up a base hit, that's fine. Give up a solo homer, but you cannot walk guys at the major league level.
John Adkins, I believe, is the name.
That's my guy, dude.
Yeah, John Adkins.
That's my guy.
I think it comes to it's burned into my brain that he walked He came in, walked the first hitter. He was in AAA, I think, by the end of the game.
Yeah, by the time I came up to bat, he was already at the airport. Which, Addy, if you're listening, I love you, brother. He was such one of the greatest teammates of all time. And let me talk about for what he was built like, is for physical ability, nasty. I mean, the fact he had this, and he was bringing he was bringing no heat in that uni.
John Atkins getting a little shout out here.
Hell
on the
yeah,
White Sox
he's my
Recap
guy, man.
Podcast. So, I mean, you're on board with me that the White Sox do need to
absolutely.
Like, again, I'm okay with the 1 year, the Steven Wilsons of the world, and like they tried bringing in John Brebbia last year. Like, there's going to be guys like that are out there, $3-4 million for 1 year that you could sign and flip. At some point, I want to stop flipping. But the bullpen, there's always those type of guys.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have success stories that you create from within. Like, I don't know what Mike Vassell is. He's going to get to 100 innings this year. He's kind of that converted long man when you're doing bullpen.
He'll be fine, man. That guy's a freaking gamer.
Well, he's not just a gamer. He's a personality and a half. So there's going to be stories like that. But to me, and I want to talk to Chris about this in the offseason too.
Hey, speaking of, I was walking through the hallways the other day at the rate, and I'm walking to go kind of bounce around, go get some food in between being on TV segments, and I feel this grip.
Subtle.
I feel this grip on my shoulder, and it's Getzy. And I'm like, hey, what's going on with Miguel Vargas? Like, hey, I don't want to give away too much. I think that's Bush, right? You have a friend, but I'm like, man, is he done? Is he done for the season? He's like, nah, he'll be fine. He's like, he's fine. But I think just give him a few days. Yeah.
So look, back to how we started this thing, should we call it the 99 loss White Sox a success? I would say yes. Okay.
Yeah,
I tweeted that. And people were like, man, we've really, we're calling this a success. We've set new bars. Well, we didn't set those bars. The White Sox did.
Yeah.
And if you can say in this particular season, when you look at their opening day lineup, I don't know, like we're going to record in a couple of weeks and the season will be over. Maybe they get to 59. Maybe they come up short. But the way that they've been in the second half as an organization, their approach at the plate, I mean, Ethan Katz in the lab, what he's done with Yoendry Gomez, Martin Perez, I think, is back in 2026.
Yes.
I think they'll work out a deal. He has a team option that I think they'll probably do a buyout.
He has a lot to prove, too. I'm sure he'll want to come back.
He's already publicly stated.
He'd love to come back.
I don't know. Maybe it's not selfish thinking to ask for a guy that's had 10 career saves be the closer of the Chicago White Sox. I would prefer that he had 50 to 100. Kyle Finnegan's a name, like former All-Star. If you can guarantee him the closer's role, maybe he accepts it. I don't know if he's like
and a sweet walkout song.
And a sweet walkout.
Hell yeah!
Can we have
the White Sox? The White Sox setup, like that is a big league stadium with the lighting. I know everyone has the LED lights, but with the scoreboard and the atmosphere, man, there's probably I would say the White Sox, the rate field, man. If the White Sox are going good, is probably top 5 best places you want to be a closer if the vibe is good.
We're not there yet.
Hey. Make me a promise right now. If the White Sox have 62 wins going to that last game, you and I will have a watch party somewhere.
Ooh, a White Sox recap podcast watch party.
Have a watch party. Maybe
will they let me in over at CHSN yet?
No, I mean, shit. Fuck that. Let's go somewhere else.
Are we past the ability to watch a game from CHSN?
Let's do it.
It's almost been a year, folks.
Hey, let's turn it. Turning the page.
Oh, yes. One more. That's a really good way to put a bow on this one, as is the reminder of the Illinois Tollways If Only campaign. We've all said it before. If only I'd slowed down the Illinois Tollways new campaign called the If Only. Powerful reminder that speeding doesn't just put you at risk. It affects everyone on the road. Every crash leaves someone wishing they had done things differently. So take the extra time, slow down, save lives. Lives, including yours, depend on it. The Illinois Tollway, proud partner of the White Sox Recap Podcast. Let's get a player or two on down the stretch here.
No problem. That's easy.
Deal? Yeah. Let's get a player or two on down the stretch. We're going to have front office members on in the offseason as well to talk about not just what we've seen in 2025. I'd like to have Will Venable on again and look really what the plan is for 2026 and beyond, because Chris did sit in that seat that you're sitting in. Said at some point he's going to spend $100 million on a player. And no, that's a podcast for another day, and it's not going to happen in 2026. That's okay. But spend some money to take the next steps. What do you think? Where do the White Sox finish?
I mean, I got to stick with what I've said since the beginning of the year, 63 and 99, baby.
I know. I feel like a steak.
11 and 11 is not too much to ask, boys. Let's go.
It's not. Hope you've enjoyed this edition of the White Sox Recap Podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening wherever you download podcasts. He's Brian Anderson. I'm Ryan McGuffey. Appreciate you listening. Make sure you click that bell. If you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, what are you doing? We're the most popular
Let's
channel.
go.
Let's go. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell for the notifications every time we drop a new episode. Boom. You get the notification, and we're back with you next week on another edition